Hello, I'm Liz, one of Derry's reference librarians, and welcome to another spooky edition of Misinformation Busters. Once a week, we tackle a rumor or false, misunderstood information, and we try to separate fact from fiction. As it is October, we are looking at Halloween misinformation all month, and this week we are looking at one of the oldest rumors around: poisoned Halloween candy and the good old razor blades in the apples. So, what's the story? If you're someone who has been trick-or-treating in the past 50 years or so, you have heard the warnings. Don't take candy that isn't wrapped. Don't take homemade treats. Don't take or eat treats like apples. If you're a parent, you've been warned every year to check your children's candy when they get home. For years, it was fear of poison candy, and then there were razor blades and apples. Recently, it's been drug candy. For decades, the fear of a sadistic person trying to harm children has been an unfortunate staple of Halloween. So, what are the facts? Well, fact is, there's actually not a lot of evidence to really support this fear. Joel Best is a professor at the University of Delaware, and he tracks these claims, and most of them are either hoaxes or misattributions. The big incident that people likely remember is that of 8-year-old Timothy Mark O'Brien, who died after ingesting a cyanide-laced pixie stick in 1974. However, this was not given to him by a stranger, a rogue person looking to poison neighborhood children. It was given to him by his father, Ronald O'Brien, who accompanied his son trick-or-treating. None of the houses even gave out pixie sticks. It turns out he had killed his son to collect life insurance money and wanted to exploit this urban legend to cover up his son's murder. Ronald O'Brien was convicted for the murder in 1975 and executed in 1984. So we have one incredibly tragic isolated incident, but aside from that, there's no evidence of a trend. In many cases, when kids get sick around Halloween, the candy is initially blamed, when in fact there is another factor to blame. In 1970, 5-year-old Kevin Totson died after ingesting heroin, and the immediate thought was that someone put it in candy. Turns out he sadly found the drugs in a relative's home. 1990, 7-year-old Ariel Katz collapsed while trick-or-treating, and again, people suspected poison candy, and it turned out she had heart issues. And this is not to say these deaths are any less tragic, but it is easy to see how an urban legend can become true before the actual truth comes out. Apparently, there actually is an origin for this urban legend. In 1964, a woman named Helen Feel thought some neighborhood kids were too old to trick-or-treat, so she made joke treat bags featuring some dog treats and candy buttons labeled poison. And she told the kids it was a joke, but she was still charged because she did technically endanger children. And thus, an urban legend and a parental fear is born. So, poison isn't a real threat, but what about razor blades and apples? This one has a little more validity. Once again, Professor Joel Best has looked into this, but what he found that these were not cases of malice. They're pranks, many of them by teens or just people who did not know that this could hurt people or that it could scare people. And how they couldn't know that it could hurt people is a little bit beyond me. But again, the idea of a cruel neighbor killing kids via razor blades and apples is not real. And thankfully, no deaths have resulted, only a few stitches and a few bad cases. Oh, and then there's the case of California toy maker Connell Cochran, who put bits of Stonehenge rock in his mask in order to enact a mass sacrifice. Oh, wait, sorry. That was the plot of Halloween 3. Never mind. So, what is the newest fear? It's that people might give out LSD or weed candies to kids. And is there any basis of this? Well, seems to be more of a fear than anything else. There was a case of a woman in Salinas, California, who ate a candy bar that was laced with LSD. But police concluded that it was an isolated incident and potentially even an accident. Because, really, people are not going to purposefully give away drug candy. There are 2 op-eds that I read, one from Slate and one from NBC News, and both title along the lines of, "Nobody is going to give weed candy to your kids." And both authors made similar points. The first was that manufacturers of weed and LSD candy actually make sure that their products do not look like children's candy because they don't want the chance of confusion or worse, the bad publicity. And the other point is cost. Edibles, weed candy, LSD candy, even CBD candies, those are far more expensive than a bag of Twix or Snickers. It doesn't make a lot of sense for someone to spend that kind of money just to give it away. So to quote author Simon Moya Smith, quote, "No one who purchases them is going to be giving them away like some cheap candy corn or Hershey's Kisses." So it looks like the boogeyman poisoning kids is just that, a boogeyman. So have fun trick-or-treating and look out for the real danger. Gross candy, like those awful, disgusting taffy candies that come wrapped in the black and orange wrappers. Ugh, rather eat Necco wafers. So, thank you for watching, and as always, look for the sources in the comments. And if you want to do some research, you can use our EBSCO databases available through the library's website. And I will see you next week.